Lando Norris has fumbled it again. Welcome back to Fog Racing. The guy's no World Championship material. I said it at the start of this season, and I'll say it again. I just don't see how Lando Norris has got it what it takes. I'll be honest. I turned around and said it about Piastri as well, but Piastri's completely dead. He's done a 180 in my head. Now he didn't get pole today. That did belong to Max Verstappen. But let's go to Q1. First of all, Gabriel Bortoleto in bottom spot. Sauber, they looked alright the first weekend of the season, and now they look like the slowest car all over again. Ocon, 19th again. Really poor quality, but he'll probably do a mad undercut tomorrow and make his way through the pack. Hulkenberg 18th, Doohan 17th, and Stroll 16th. A lot of hype about Lance Stroll. He broke the record for the most Q1 eliminations of all time, 75. And see when you actually break it down, the guy has never been in a backmarker team, right? No, Aston Martin aren't great, aren't great this season, right? But he came into Williams. They were like, third, fourth fastest car. Then he got the move to Racing Point, which were always decent. They were never like one of the slowest cars on the grid. Here, 2020, man, they were like, honestly, they were like second fastest, at worst third. Then you factor in like Aston Martin. More often than not, some points in 2023, the first bit you could argue they were second fastest, or they were a top four team at least. And the other years, there was podiums being scored by like Vettel and shit. And great, he's never had a backmarker team. For him to break the record, it's incredible. He is one of the worst qualifiers of all time. There's no two ways about it, and it's a sort of record that proves why he shouldn't be on the grid. You know what I mean? And it's not like Alonso finished way above him today, but it's like, what is Stroll doing? 15th belonged to Ollie Berman. Again, maybe a wee bit disappointing for the Haas team, but they'll whip out a strategy tomorrow and they'll probably get a double points finish. Isaac Hadjar 14th. This cost our bet, but there was something else that cost our bet, which we'll get into a wee bit later on. Then it was Fernando Alonso 13th, Liam Lawson 12th, Albon 11th, so a bit disappointing from Albon. Hamilton managed to sneak through. So let's get in to Q3 and address the elephant in the room. Lando Norris put it into the barrier. Tomo, F1, predicted that Lando Norris would do this. In his predictions, he would bin it. And it's like, you know what? It's so unnecessary. It wasn't even on it was on the first run. It wasn't like it was on the last run. Get your banker in and then maybe risk it all on your last lap. But what it did essentially cause was a freeway fight because it looked like McLaren were going to dominate. There were 7 times clear in the practice sessions, but we've seen the same in Bahrain. And here, they looked ahead, same in Japan, but the gaps weren't that big. Russell took provisional pole, then Piastri, and then Verstappen beat them right at the end. It sets up a very interesting race, but how many mistakes can Lando Norris keep making? You know what I mean? Like, McLaren do have the best car, and I'm not one of these people that think it's utterly dominant. I don't think it is, but they still should be up there. And now this is a bunch of races where he's just making mistake after mistake after mistake, and if McLaren lose the wee bit of advantage they've got, they're going to be raging. You look at the driver standings, right? So Verstappen, Piastri on the front row. Piastri's 3 points behind Norris, and Verstappen's 8 points behind Norris. Here, even Russell. There's a massive chance tomorrow that the three drivers behind Lando Norris in the championship overtake him. Now, I think the good thing is from like a Leclerc standpoint and Hamilton and Antonelli, if they really want to consider themselves in this fight, theoretically those three should expect to beat Norris tomorrow because I don't see Norris going for 10th to like 4th. I don't. He could because McLaren's long run pace looked decent, but I think he'll have a tough race tomorrow. And we'll see how it goes. But that will do it, guys, for the qualifying recap. Lando Norris, he doesn't have what it takes. Absolutely not. He needs to turn it around.